The silent alarm in Tomas Reed's fingers hovered over the communications console as the anomalous signal pulsed again. 3 weeks into their deep space expedition aboard the Horizon, and something was finally happening. The rest of the bridge crew had cycled to their quarters, leaving him alone with the gentle hum of machinery and the soft blue glow of the monitors.
"Computer,
Analyze signal pattern," Tomas whispered. Not wanting to break the peaceful silence that had settled over the bridge, his dark eyes narrowed as the data scrolled across his screen. The signal was unlike anything in their database. Not random noise, but definitely not following any recognized communication protocol either. It was coming from the Vega 9 system, supposedly uninhabited and unexplored. "Anything interesting, Reed?" The voice made him jump. Security Officer Alina Nash stood in the doorway, her tall frame silhouetted against the corridor lights. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, but a few strands had escaped to frame her face. "Unknown transmission from Veganine," he replied, trying to maintain his professional demeanor despite the flutter in his chest. He and Nash had never quite gotten along since their academy days. Strong enough to trigger the deep space receivers, Lena moved closer, leaning over his shoulder to look at the display. Her scent, something faintly floral, mixed with the standard issue soap, momentarily distracted him.
should we wake Captain Volkov?"
She asked, straightening. Tomas hesitated. Captain Natasha Volkov was in cryosleep, as were half the crew. Standard procedure during long journeys between systems. Waking her for what might be nothing seemed excessive. "Protocol says any unidentified signals warrant command notification," Alina reminded him, her voice carrying a hint of challenge. "Protocol also allows bridge officers discretion during non-emergency situations," Tomas countered. "Let's gather more data first," the intercom chimed. "Bridge, this is engineering. We're detecting unusual radiation patterns ahead. Recommend course adjustment to investigate." Tomas and Alina exchanged glances. "Acknowledged engineering," Tomas responded. "Plot a course to the signal source, but maintain safe distance." As the horizon changed direction, the main view screen filled with stars. Somewhere among them was the source of the mysterious signal. "If this turns out to be first contact," Alina said quietly, "we'll be in violation of at least 12 regulations by not waking the captain. And if it's just space noise, we'll have disturbed her rest for nothing," Tomas replied. "Let's just take a look. We can always wake her if needed." The ship hummed as it accelerated toward. Vega 9, neither of them noticed the subtle change in the signal's pattern as it began to respond to their approach. "I have a bad feeling about this," Alina murmured, her hand unconsciously moving to the phaser at her hip. "That's why you're security and I'm communications," Tomas said with a slight smile. "I prefer to think of it as an opportunity." As the horizon drew closer to the mysterious signal, neither of them realized they were about to be tested in ways they couldn't imagine, or that their complicated relationship would soon be the least of their concerns. Voices among stars. The damaged alien vessel hung in space like a wounded animal. Its sleek, silver hull was punctured in multiple places, with debris floating in a scattered halo around it. The horizon maintained a cautious distance as Tomas and Alina stared at the view screen. Scanning for life signs, Tomas said, his fingers dancing across the console. "One confirmed. Faint, but stable." "We need a boarding party," Alina decided, already moving toward the equipment locker. "I'll lead it." Tomas frowned. "With the captain asleep? That's definitely against protocol." "So is leaving someone to die," she countered, tossing him an environmental suit. "You're coming too. We'll need a communications expert if they can't speak our language." 20 minutes later, they drifted through the rupture in the alien ship's hull. The interior was bathed in dim red emergency lighting, creating eerie shadows in the curved corridors. "Life sign is ahead," Tomas whispered through the com. "Some kind of control room." They found the survivor slumped over a console. Tall and thin, with iridescent scaled skin and 4 arms, the alien looked up as they approached. Its large compound eyes blinked rapidly. "Help," it said in surprisingly clear English. "Drevin coming." Lena and Tomas exchanged shocked glances inside their helmets. "I am Kresh," the alien continued, struggling to stand. This vessel contains data. Cannot let Drevin find. They helped Kresh back to the Horizon's medical bay, where the ship's automated systems began treatment for radiation exposure and dehydration. As the alien rested, Tomas analyzed the data crystal Kresh had pressed into his hand before losing consciousness. "It's encrypted," he told Alina as they stood in the corridor outside medical. "But I'm picking up astronomical data, star charts, radiation signatures." Kresh mentioned Drevin. Could be a species or maybe a government. Alina's shoulder brushed against his as she leaned in to see the display, and Tomas became acutely aware of her proximity, whoever they are. "Kresh is terrified of them," Tomas replied, trying to focus on the data rather than the warmth of her body next to his. A sudden jolt rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed as the automated systems responded to the unexpected turbulence. "What was that?" Alina demanded, steadying herself against the wall. "Engineering to bridge," came a concerned voice. "We're experiencing power fluctuations across all systems. Something's interfering with our core stabilizers." Tomas and Alina hurried to the bridge. The main systems were flickering, displays showing cascading errors. "This could be radiation from the damaged ship," Tomas suggested, sliding into his station. Or ... or something else entirely," Alina finished for him, her eyes meeting his. For a moment, the years of rivalry and tension between them seemed to fade, replaced by shared concern. "Should we wake the captain now?" she asked softly. Tomas hesitated. "Let me try something first." His hands flew over the console, isolating systems, rerouting power as the ship stabilized. He felt Alina's hand briefly touch his shoulder. "Nice work," she said, with unexpected warmth in her voice. Behind them, on a secondary monitor, the long-range scanners detected a new signal approaching from the edge of the system, large, powerful, and moving fast. "The Hunter's Pursuit Drevin warship," Kresh confirmed, voice trembling as the alien studied the tactical display. "They track me. Track the data." The massive vessel approaching the horizon dwarfed their science ship by a factor of 10. Its black hull absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it appear like a moving void against the star field. "We can't outrun that," Tomas said, calculating trajectories. "And we can't fight it." The nebula. Alina pointed to the swirling gas cloud at the edge of their sensor range. "If we can get inside, the ionized particles might mask our signature." Tomas nodded, already plotting the course. "Engineering? We need everything you've got." The Horizon surged forward, pushing its engines beyond recommended limits. Behind them, the Drevin ship adjusted course, enormous and implacable in pursuit. "They're gaining," Alina reported, tension evident in her voice. As they entered the nebula's outer boundary, visibility dropped to near zero. Brilliant colors, azure, crimson, and gold, swirled around the ship as gases ionized against the hull shields. "Cut main power," Tomas ordered. "Passive systems only." In the sudden dimness of the bridge, illuminated only by emergency lighting, Tomas became aware of Alina standing close beside him. The ship drifted silently through the nebula, everyone holding their breath as the massive Drevin vessel passed overhead, its sensors searching blindly through the interference. "They cannot detect you here," Kresh whispered. "But they will not leave. Drevin are patient hunters." Hours passed in tense silence. Off-duty crew retreated to quarters, but Tomas remained at his post, monitoring the enemy ship's movements. He didn't notice Alina approach until she placed a cup of coffee beside him. "You should rest," she said, her voice surprisingly gentle. "So should you," he replied, looking up to meet her gaze. "I've been talking with Kresh," she said, sitting beside him. "The data they're carrying, it's evidence of star harvesting. The Drevin are extracting energy directly from stellar cores, causing them to collapse prematurely." Tomas felt a chill. That's why they called it when stars scream in their transmission. They're killing stars. In the dim light, Alina's face was solemn. "If they perfect this technology, Earth could be next." Tomas finished. Their eyes locked and something shifted between them. The years of rivalry seemed trivial now. Thinking, Tomas reached out, his fingers brushing against hers on the console. "We should wake Captain Volkov," Alina whispered. But she didn't pull her hand away. If we wake her, protocol demands we surrender Kresh and the data to the nearest Galactic Council outpost, Tomas argued. What if the Dreven have infiltrated the Council? This information would disappear. Alina moved closer. Are you suggesting we break protocol? Ensign read. There was no condemnation in her voice, only a question. I'm suggesting we do what's right, he replied. As the nebula swirled around them and danger lurked just beyond, their sanctuary, their lips met in a kiss that had been years in the making. Breaking protocol, the decision was made. Captain Volkov would remain in cryosleep while they formulated a plan. Tomas worked tirelessly in the ship's lab, analyzing the data from Kresh's crystal. The evidence was irrefutable, 17-star. Systems destroyed, their cores harvested by Dreven technology, leaving billions dead. We need to warn Earth, Tomas told Alina as she entered the lab.
Oh.
But any transmission powerful enough to reach them would reveal our position to the Dreven. Alina set down a tray of food beside him. You haven't eaten in 12 hours, she said. Even heroes need sustenance. Their hands touched as he accepted the meal, lingering longer than necessary. The tension between them had transformed into something else entirely, a connection forged in crisis. I've been thinking, Alina said, sitting across from him. The nebula's unique ionic composition. What if we could use it as a natural amplifier? Tomas's eyes widened, like a cosmic whisper network. The signal would bounce from particle to particle, growing stronger as it travels. Exactly, she smiled. We broadcast at low power, but the message reaches far beyond our normal range. As they worked on the calculations, shoulder to shoulder at the console, Tomas found himself continuously distracted by her proximity. The subtle scent of her hair, the warmth of her arm against his. You know, he said quietly, all those years at the academy, competing for top marks, arguing in tactical classes. I only pushed so hard because you impressed me, Alina admitted, her eyes meeting his. I wanted you to see me as an equal. I've always seen you as exceptional, Tomas replied, his voice low. I just didn't know how to tell you. The ship's sensors chimed, interrupting the moment. The Dreven warship was moving, beginning a systematic scan of the nebula. They're searching quadrant by quadrant, Tomas observed. We have ours at most before they find us. Kresh entered the lab, the aliens' movements still weak from their injuries. Your plan to warn others it will work? It has to, Alina replied. Later, as they prepared the modified communications array, Tomas found Alina alone in the observation deck. Through the viewport, the nebula's swirling colors created an otherworldly ballet. If this doesn't work, she said without turning, the Dreven will find us, take the data, and no one will ever know what happened. Tomas stood beside her. It will work. She turned to him, vulnerability clear in her eyes. I've spent my career following rules, believing in the system. We're breaking every protocol I've sworn to uphold. Sometimes protecting the greater good means making difficult choices, he replied, taking her hand. We're doing the right thing, Alina. As the nebula shifted around them, they found comfort in each other's embrace, both knowing that tomorrow would bring either salvation or discovery, and that either way, nothing between them would ever be the same again. When stars screamed, the Dreven found them just as the transmission began. The massive warship loomed out of the nebula's colorful haze, weapon systems powering up as it approached the horizon. Transmission at 30%, Tomas reported, his fingers flying across the console. We need 3 more minutes for the nebula to fully amplify the signal. The first impact rocked the ship. Non-lethal, a warning shot. They're hailing us, Alina, announced from the tactical station. The viewscreen activated to reveal a Dreven commander. Humanoid, but with gray, stone-like skin and eyes that glowed with an internal light, the alien regarded them coldly. Human vessel! The commander's translated voice rumbled. You harbor a fugitive and stolen intelligence. Surrender immediately. Lena stepped forward. This is Security Officer Nash of the Earth vessel Horizon. We are on a peaceful scientific mission. Transmission at 60%, Tomas whispered. Your deception is futile, the Dreven commander continued. Our sensors detect the broadcast. You will cease immediately or be destroyed. Buying time, Alina mouthed to Tomas before addressing the commander again. We request dialogue under Galactic Council peace protocols. The Dreven's expression didn't change. The Council has no authority in this matter. This is your final warning. The transmission cut off as the Dreven ship moved into firing position. 80%, Tomas called out. Just a little longer. Kresh appeared on the bridge, moving with unexpected purpose toward the engineering console. I can help, the alien said. 4 hands working in perfect coordination across the controls. The nebula around them began to glow brighter. Particles energizing as Kresh manipulated the ship's shield harmonics to interact with the natural environment. What are you doing? Alina asked. Using your shields to create resonance cascade, Kresh explained. The nebula will amplify your signal exponentially. The Dreven ship fired again, this time with intent. The horizon shuddered under the impact, systems flickering. Hull breach on Deck 3. An engineer called out. Automated seals engaged. 95%, Tomas reported. Almost there. Alina moved to his side, her hand finding his amidst the chaos. Whatever happens, she said, her eyes meeting his. I'm glad we found each other. The nebula suddenly blazed with light, particles igniting in a chain reaction that spread outward from the horizon in a spectacular wave. The transmission indicator flashed complete as the message containing all of Kresh's data about the Dreven star, harvesting rocketed outward toward Earth and every human colony within. Range, transmission complete, Tomas announced triumphantly. The wave of energy washed over the Dreven ship, temporarily disrupting its systems. As the enemy vessel drifted powerless, Alina quickly ordered the horizon to move deeper into the nebula. They'll recover soon, she warned. But by then, the message will be beyond their ability to contain. Hours later, with the immediate danger past, Tomas and Alina stood in the cryo bay, looking at Captain Volkov's peaceful form. Time to wake her? Tomas asked. Alina nodded, and faced the consequences together. As the revival sequence began, they linked hands, ready to explain how they had broken protocol, discovered a terrible threat, and perhaps saved countless stars from screaming their death throes across the cosmos. Worth it? Tomas asked softly. Alina's smile was answer enough as the captain's eyes began to flutter open.